As I mentioned earlier, I believe history is something that we should remember and talk about. And today is March the 6th. Probably doesn't mean much to a lot of folks in the United States, but to those of us from Texas, March the 6th is an important day. And I want to put it in context. There are three important, very important days for those of us from Texas: March the 2nd, March the 6th, and April the 21st. And I'll get to the significance in just a moment. Many, many years ago, parts of Texas, Mexico, Central America, and even South America were controlled by European country of Spain, controlled all of that area. And the people of Mexico decided that they wanted to have their own independent country. Sounds familiar, does it not? And they rebelled against the Spanish, and they formed the Republic of Mexico. They established a constitution. It was called the Constitution of 1824. But as sometimes happens with new democracies, the president takes over, and his name was Santa Anna. Santa Anna, when he took power, legally, constitutionally, under a democratic regime, did what some dictators unfortunately still do. He abolished the government. He abolished the Constitution of 1824. He created a centralist authoritarian government. But several areas, states if you will, in Mexico dissented, objected, vocally objected, even rebelled. And those areas of Mexico were Coahuila de Tejas, the state of Coahuila in Texas, Durango, Jalisco, Nuevo León, Guanajuato, San Luis Potosí, Tamaulipas, Yucatan, and Zacatecas, and a couple of others. Most of those areas, those states, did nothing more than just object, dissent, and quickly Santa Anna moved in to quell any disruption or disturbances. But there were three of those areas that actually formed their own republics, if you will. There was the Republic of the Rio Grande, the Republic of the Yucatan, and the Republic of Texas. Santa Anna quickly, of course, moved to stop these new countries, if you will, areas that were seeking independence from this totalitarian dictator named Santa Anna. As history has shown, they all failed except the Republic of Texas. And that's what I would like to talk about this evening, Mr. Speaker. And what happened in Texas was that the people objected, people of all races, both Tejanos, and Tejano is a uniquely Texan name. A Tejano is someone of Mexican or Spanish descent that is or was born in what is now Texas. And the Anglos as well dissented, objected to Santa Anna's imperialistic dictatorship. And it started over a cannon. In October of 1835, the Mexican government sent some military over to the little town of Gonzales, Texas, and demanded that the colonists, the people there, give up their cannon, their arms. And they objected. They refused to do it. And so there was a skirmish between the Mexican regulars and the colonists who lived in Gonzales. Shots were fired on both sides. I don't know that anybody was really hurt too bad. A couple of folks were wounded. But more importantly, the Mexican military left, and they did not get the cannon, and thus started the Texas War of Independence. You may have heard of the flag, the Come and Take It flag. The Texians, as they called themselves, painted a cannon on a white background and wrote underneath it, "Come and take it," being defiant. In any event, that started the battle. That started the Texas War of Independence against a dictator, a person who had abolished, remember, the Constitution of the Republic of Mexico. Santa Anna then decided he would put down this rebellion, all of these rebellions that I talked about, And he successfully did so in other parts of Mexico, in those areas that I had mentioned. And then he moves across the Rio Grande River with 3 different armies coming into Texas to put down this so-called rebellion against his dictatorship. So the first battles of Texas independence were successful in 1835, October 1835, and that brought us into 1836. Success was not the norm in 1836. On March the 2nd, 1836, 54 Texians, including Lorenzo de Zavala, Thomas Rusk, Antonio Navarro, and of that famous person, Sam Houston, gathered not too far from San Antonio in a place called Washington on the Brazos, declared their independence from Mexico, wrote a Declaration of Independence, very similar to the American Declaration of Independence. It was signed by all of them on March 2nd, 1836. Turned out March the 2nd also happens to be the birthday of Sam Houston. Imagine that. And that's the first important day. But meanwhile, assembled down from Texas declaring independence at Washington on the Brazos were a group of volunteers. They were all together in this old beat-up Spanish church that was 150 years old at the time. It was a town called Bexar. We know it now as San Antonio. And the place that they were assembled themselves to fight off the invasion of the dictator was the Alamo. This is an artist's sketch of the way the Alamo looked at the time that the 187 volunteers defended the place. You will notice, Mr. Speaker, the flag that is flying over the Alamo was not what a lot of people think, the Lone Star flag, which was the flag of the Republic of Texas, the flag of Texas now. It's the flag of 1824. It's very similar to the Mexican flag, but what the defenders had done was remove the eagle, the Mexican eagle, and put the words or the numbers 1824. And why did they do that? Well, because when they went into the Alamo, what they were wanting, what they were trying to do, was reestablish a constitutional government in Mexico, and they wanted the Constitution of 1824. And that's why that flag flew over the Alamo. The people who entered the Alamo did so on February the 23rd, 1836. So they did so before March 2nd, before the Declaration of Independence, because they knew that the invaders were coming under the direction of the president, the dictator, and the General Santa Anna. It's interesting, these people who were in the Alamo, they were all volunteers, Mr. Speaker. They came from almost every state in the United States, 13 foreign countries, including Mexico. And I'll just mention some of the states that they came from. They came from Alabama, Connecticut, Georgia, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, several from Massachusetts, came from the state of Mississippi, Missouri, as far away as New Hampshire, New Jersey, several folks from New York, North Carolina, Ohio, a great number came from Pennsylvania, and of course, South Carolina, even one from Rhode Island,